Imagine losing everything you hold dear in a single moment, your world crumbling, your heart breaking, and yet, somewhere above, a courtroom is convening in the heavens, weighing your faith against the whispers of doubt and despair. What would you do if your deepest suffering was watched, analyzed, and even challenged by unseen eyes, and the very angels who serve God were debating your worth, your loyalty, your soul? Tonight, we dive into the story of Job, a man tested beyond imagination, as we witness the divine courtroom where heaven itself questions human faith, and the consequences echo across eternity. Welcome to Divine War Stories, the place where the battles of heaven meet the struggles of humanity, where we explore the untold stories behind Scripture, the conflicts that shape destiny, and the lessons hidden within divine trials. If you want to see the unseen, understand the spiritual warfare that surrounds us, and feel the weight of celestial judgment, you've come to the right place. Make sure to stay until the end as we journey through Job's trials and uncover the lessons that still speak to our lives today. Job's life was once a picture of perfect stability, a man of wealth, family, and unwavering devotion. Yet even the righteous are not immune to suffering, and the heavens were preparing a test that would shake him to his core, as angels watched from above, waiting to see if his faith could withstand a trial no human could imagine. While Job went about his daily life, unaware of the spiritual courtroom assembling in silence, a place where divine laws intersected with the fragility of human existence, and even Satan had his own arguments, challenging the notion that anyone could remain faithful under absolute despair, compelling us to ask ourselves if we too could endure when our world falls apart, when the ones we love are taken, when wealth and comfort vanish like mist. And yet, the story of Job begins not in despair but in unwavering faith. In the celestial courtroom, God himself allowed a dialogue that seems impossible to human minds, a debate over the essence of true devotion, where Satan accuses Job of serving only for reward, questioning if faith can exist without comfort, while the angels bear witness, recording every word, every action, and every whispered prayer of a man who has never known betrayal, yet now faces an unimaginable storm, his life stripped away piece by piece, forcing us to confront our own motives, the reasons we hold on to belief, the fragility of human trust, as Job's story becomes a mirror, reflecting the battles we face internally when tragedy visits, compelling us to see that faith is not measured in times of peace, but in the endurance of the heart under relentless fire, teaching us lessons that resonate across centuries, challenging the essence of loyalty, patience, and human courage. The first blow came swiftly. A messenger arrived bearing news of lost wealth, animals slain, servants killed, each detail more crushing than the last, and Job's immediate reaction was not rage, but sorrow, a deep lament that pierced the soul, showing a heart torn but still reverent, acknowledging the sovereignty of God even amidst catastrophe, a response that sets him apart, illustrating a principle rarely understood. Resilience is born in the acknowledgement of forces beyond our control, and as we witness Job kneeling in ashes, scraping his body with broken pottery, we understand that suffering is not simply punishment but a crucible, forging the character of the faithful, revealing the rawness of human emotion, the depth of despair, and the infinite capacity for endurance when faced with trials too great to bear alone. Next, tragedy strikes the family he loved most, children lost in a moment, laughter extinguished, and the weight of grief threatens to crush the human spirit entirely. Yet Job does not curse, does not lash out, but mourns with a heart open to the mysteries of God's purpose. While the heavenly courtroom watches, every angel a witness to the endurance of mortal loyalty, and Satan observes, noting that doubt may yet creep into the corners of Job's mind, testing the limits of human devotion. Reminding viewers that suffering is often beyond reason, that grief does not follow fairness, that sometimes the hardest trials are the ones that strip us of the people we hold most dear, and yet, in the rawest anguish, Job's story teaches that true faith does not demand understanding, only perseverance, a lesson echoing in our own struggles, our own unanswered prayers, our own nights of despair. The third wave of torment arrives through disease, his body afflicted with painful sores, his dignity seemingly erased. Friends arrive and their presence, meant to console, instead becomes a mirror of misunderstanding, offering words that sting as much as his wounds, challenging him to defend his integrity, defend his unseen covenant with God, a reflection of how often those who suffer are judged or misunderstood, even by those closest, and the celestial courtroom witnesses the dialogue each word, each sigh of anguish, adding weight to the discussion between the accuser and the Almighty, reminding us that our own trials are observed in ways we cannot see, and that endurance is not only a test for the heart, but a teaching tool for the eyes of the world, showing resilience, humility, and the power of faith to transcend even the harshest condemnation. Job's lament is raw, questioning, crying out to God for answers, yet never abandoning belief, demonstrating the paradox of human devotion. Honesty does not negate faith, doubt does not erase love, and the courtroom above records this dialogue, each expression of sorrow a testament to enduring loyalty, a living proof that integrity can coexist with suffering, that hearts can break and yet remain steadfast, teaching the audience that expressing pain is not weakness, but an authentic response to the trials of life, an invitation to connect with the story on a personal level, to see our own struggles mirrored in the anguish of a man whose story transcends time, and to recognize that spiritual endurance is a journey, often tested by unseen forces, yet never futile, a beacon for all who seek understanding amidst chaos, a story that invites reflection on our own resilience. The heavenly courtroom debates continue, arguments offered, counterpoints presented, each angel weighing the evidence, while Job's unwavering faith becomes central to the discussion, illustrating that true devotion is neither blind nor passive, but active, persistent, and courageous, even when circumstances defy logic, teaching us the profound lesson that adversity is the proving ground of the soul, a stage where courage, patience, and humility shine brightest, reminding viewers that trials, though painful, serve a purpose, forming the core of spiritual growth, shaping character in ways comfort cannot, and inspiring the audience to face their own unseen battles with a quiet determination, understanding that each trial, each loss, each heartache, is part of a divine narrative, witnessed and honored, a story of perseverance and integrity under pressure. As Job speaks, his voice carries weight in heaven and on earth, a mixture of grief, honesty, and unbroken loyalty, reflecting the complexity of human emotion, reminding viewers that spiritual struggle is often internal, silent, and deeply personal, yet observed by forces beyond comprehension, illustrating that our reactions, our endurance, our honesty in suffering, are part of a larger tapestry, a divine narrative where every tear is noted, every struggle understood, and every act of resilience valued, inviting audiences to see themselves in Job, to recognize the universality of pain, and to understand that our deepest trials can be instruments of growth, that our moments of weakness can be transformed into testimony, that endurance is not just surviving, but maintaining dignity, integrity, and faith even when the world collapses around us, a story that resonates beyond time and culture. The friends of Job continue to speak, each offering perspective, some accusing, some attempting comfort, yet none fully grasping the depth of suffering, highlighting the isolation that accompanies grief, the loneliness that even well-meaning words cannot erase, while the heavenly courtroom observes, analyzing the human responses to tragedy, teaching viewers that misunderstanding is common, that empathy can fail, and that support sometimes comes in silence rather than advice, reflecting a truth about human relationships, that pain can isolate, yet honesty can connect, and that enduring faith often exists in spite of, rather than because of, external understanding, a narrative that resonates with anyone who has felt unseen, unheard, or alone in their suffering, offering solace in knowing that the unseen observes, validates, and honors endurance, a reminder of resilience beyond perception. Finally, Job's endurance begins to shift the courtroom's perspective, demonstrating that even in the darkest trials, faith can illuminate, can teach, can inspire, a principle that transcends scripture and reaches into the human heart, reminding viewers that resilience is a choice, courage a discipline, and devotion a living act, reflecting that our greatest tests often produce our most profound growth, and that suffering, while painful, is never meaningless, a truth that Job embodies fully, inspiring the audience to reflect on their own trials, their own moments of despair, to see the unseen battles as shaping character, fortifying the spirit, and inviting each viewer to embrace perseverance as both a shield and a beacon, a story that bridges heaven and earth, divine and human, trial and triumph, offering hope that even amidst chaos, faith remains steadfast. If you are enjoying this video, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to help this channel reach more people. Now let's continue. As Job's story unfolds, the courtroom above shifts from observation to awe, as his patience and honesty in the face of relentless suffering illuminate the essence of faith, showing viewers that true devotion is tested not by comfort, but by the severity of trials, teaching that enduring hardship with integrity is a silent victory, a triumph unseen by the world yet witnessed in heaven, and we begin to relate, realizing that our own struggles, though smaller in scale, carry the same spiritual significance, reminding us that perseverance in the ordinary challenges of life mirrors Job's extraordinary journey, a lesson in humility, resilience, and courage, inviting the audience to reflect deeply on their own faith, their responses to adversity, and the ways they navigate pain while remaining steadfast, revealing that the story is not just ancient history, but a living guide for human endurance and spiritual growth. Job's dialogue with God becomes the pinnacle of this divine drama, his questions raw and his heart exposed, yet his reverence intact, showing viewers that faith allows space for honesty, for doubt, for questioning without breaking loyalty, a paradox that resonates deeply, reflecting the reality of human experience where emotions collide with belief, where grief can coexist with worship, and where anger at circumstance does not nullify devotion, demonstrating that the spiritual courtroom is not only a place of judgment but of revelation, where truth, character, and resilience are weighed, teaching that enduring faith is a living process, shaped by reflection, suffering, and dialogue, inviting us to see our own conversations with the divine as part of a broader narrative, a journey of understanding, growth, and ultimately hope. The heavenly angels bear witness as Job's honesty pierces the courtroom, revealing that divine understanding surpasses human comprehension, and viewers are reminded that vulnerability is not weakness but strength, a necessary path to spiritual maturity, that the articulation of grief, the confession of despair, and the cry for clarity are acts that honor God rather than diminish devotion, teaching us that endurance does not demand perfection but authenticity, inspiring the audience to embrace their own emotional journeys, to face trials openly, and to find courage in the very act of persistence, showing that the divine respects the sincerity of human hearts, that heaven does not expect blind compliance but a willing, honest engagement with the challenges of life, a story that resonates universally, bridging time, culture, and circumstance. As Job waits for answers, the courtroom remains attentive, a celestial stage where patience and faith intersect, reminding viewers that waiting is itself a sacred act, that endurance is measured not only in action but in stillness, in trust, in the courage to remain faithful when resolution seems impossible, reflecting the tension inherent in all human trials, the long nights of uncertainty, the questions that go unanswered, and yet the story teaches that persistence is transformative, that waiting refines character, that even in silence there is purpose, and that the unseen witnesses, whether angels or God himself, honor the quiet courage of the heart, offering a lesson that resonates for anyone facing prolonged difficulty, guiding viewers to see patience as both a challenge and a triumph, a quiet yet profound spiritual victory. The voice of God finally enters, overwhelming yet compassionate, reshaping the courtroom's understanding and viewers' perception, reminding us that divine perspective far surpasses human reasoning, that answers may arrive in forms unexpected, that trials are never meaningless, and that the restoration that follows suffering is both tangible and spiritual, illustrating that resilience nurtured through trial produces insight, clarity, and growth, teaching that faithfulness is not a transaction, but a journey, that endurance transforms both the sufferer and the witnesses, a lesson that extends to our daily lives, encouraging reflection on the hidden lessons of pain, the unseen work of perseverance, and the ultimate redemption that comes not from avoiding hardship but from navigating it with integrity, a narrative that inspires, consoles, and motivates. Job's restoration is both emotional and tangible, his fortunes renewed, his family returned, his health restored, yet the true victory lies in the unseen triumph of character, the deepening of faith, the proof that devotion survives testing, offering viewers a mirror for their own lives, teaching that trials, no matter how severe, can yield growth, that suffering can strengthen rather than destroy, and that even when our world seems broken, restoration is possible, a principle that transcends the ancient story, speaking to anyone who has felt loss, doubt, or despair, showing that endurance is rewarded not simply with relief but with wisdom, resilience, and an unshakable heart, a narrative that validates struggle while offering hope, guiding the audience to see perseverance as both a shield and a pathway. The celestial courtroom, now in quiet awe, illustrates a profound spiritual truth, that trials are not punitive but instructive, that endurance shapes destiny, that faith under pressure is the ultimate evidence of loyalty, a revelation that resonates with viewers who have experienced moments of testing, isolation, or sorrow, teaching that even unseen observers honor sincerity, that patience is a form of courage, and that each moment of struggle carries weight beyond perception, encouraging the audience to consider their own challenges as part of a larger spiritual narrative, to recognize the value of perseverance, and to find purpose in suffering, transforming trials from sources of despair into opportunities for character development, spiritual growth, and the cultivation of a deeper, authentic relationship with the divine. Job's humility, honesty, and endurance become lessons for humanity, demonstrating that true faith is not superficial, that it withstands the tests of time, loss, and suffering, reminding viewers that our trials, though unique, reflect universal experiences, teaching empathy, resilience, and insight, and showing that enduring hardship is not passive but active, a conscious choice to remain steadfast. A narrative that encourages reflection on how we respond to adversity, how we treat those who suffer, and how we maintain integrity when all seems lost, offering guidance for modern challenges, illustrating that perseverance is a timeless virtue, and that enduring faith, when cultivated through trials, becomes a source of strength, hope, and inspiration for ourselves and those who witness our journey. As Job's story concludes, the courtroom fades from view, but its lessons remain vivid, offering viewers insight into the interplay between suffering, faith, and divine purpose, teaching that trials are both tests and teachers, that resilience is measured in persistence, and that loyalty is revealed in moments of profound challenge, reminding us that the spiritual journey is ongoing, that endurance shapes character, and that our responses to adversity have meaning beyond immediate perception. Inspiring reflection, empathy, and courage, and encouraging the audience to carry these lessons into their own lives, to face challenges with honesty, patience, and faith, and to see that even in the darkest moments, the unseen witnesses honor perseverance, offering comfort, guidance, and hope. In closing, Job's journey reminds us that suffering is not the end, that faith is strengthened through trial, and that endurance is both witnessed and rewarded, a narrative that speaks to anyone facing hardship, loss, or uncertainty, showing that our trials are part of a larger spiritual tapestry, and that perseverance, honesty, and humility create lasting impact, a message that resonates across time, culture, and personal circumstance, reminding viewers that hope persists even in the midst of despair, that faith is resilient, and that the unseen observers, from angels to God Himself, honor the courage of human hearts, leaving us with a profound lesson: to endure, to trust, and to remain steadfast. If Job's story has inspired you, take a moment today to reflect on your own trials, share this journey with someone who needs hope, and remember that endurance is a silent victory, a testimony to the resilience of faith, and a beacon for all who seek light in the midst of life's storms.